Hello everyone! Welcome back to another English learning video. This video will help you improve your English speaking and listening skills. Today I will tell you a beautiful story. It is about a young girl named Maya. She went to the hospital because of a headache. She told a small lie, but that lie changed her life forever. Listen carefully. Pause after each sentence and repeat after me. This will help you train your brain to think and speak in English easily. Are you ready? Let's begin the story. My name is Maya Thompson. I am 23 years old. I live in Los Angeles, California. I work at a small bakery near my home. Every day is the same. Wake up early, go to work, serve coffee, smile at customers, come home tired, and sleep. Nothing special ever happens. My life is quiet and simple. But one Tuesday morning, something very different happened. That morning, I woke up with a terrible headache. My head felt heavy. The pain was sharp and strong. I tried to ignore it, but it kept getting worse. I called my boss and said softly, "I'm sorry, I can't come to work today. I'm not feeling well." He said, "It's okay, Maya. Go and see a doctor." I didn't want to go. I have always been afraid of hospitals. They smell like medicine and bad memories. But the pain was too much. So I finally decided to go. The hospital was big and white. People were walking in and out. Some looked worried, some looked tired, and some looked sick. I felt nervous. My hands were shaking. At the front desk, a kind lady smiled at me and said, "How can I help you?" "My head hurts," I said softly. "I want to see a doctor." She gave me a paper and said, "Please fill out this form." I sat down and looked around. Children were crying. Old people were waiting silently. Everyone had their own story. After one long hour, I heard a nurse call my name. "Maya Thompson?" I stood up quickly. The nurse smiled and said, "Follow me." We walked down a long blue hallway. There were pictures of flowers on the walls and soft music playing. It made me feel a little calm. She stopped at a door and said, "The doctor will see you in room number 5. I walked in slowly. The room was quiet and clean. It smelled like fresh air and soap. I sat on the chair and waited. A few minutes later, the door opened. A tall young man walked in. He had dark brown hair, blue eyes, and a gentle smile. He wore a white coat. "Hello," he said kindly. "I'm Dr. Ethan Carter." His voice was soft and deep. My heart started beating fast. "What seems to be the problem today?" he asked. "My head hurts," I said softly. He came closer and started checking my blood pressure. He looked into my eyes and ears. His face was close to mine. I could smell his cologne, clean and fresh like the ocean. "Everything looks normal," he said. "It's probably just a tension headache, nothing serious. Drink more water and get some rest." He wrote something on a paper and handed me a prescription. "Take this medicine twice a day." "Thank you, doctor," I said. "You're welcome, Maya," he replied with a smile. When I left the hospital, my head already felt better, but my heart didn't feel normal. I couldn't stop thinking about him. His voice, his eyes, his smile, they stayed in my mind. That night, I couldn't sleep. I thought about him again and again. 3 days later, My headache was gone, but my heart still hurt in a strange, beautiful way. 1 week later, I made a plan. A silly, crazy plan. I would go back to the hospital. I would tell them my headache was still bad. It wasn't true, but I wanted to see him again, just once more. That morning, I wore my favorite blue dress, the same color as his eyes. I did my hair, put on lipstick, and looked at myself in the mirror. I whispered, "You can do this." When I reached the hospital, the same lady at the desk asked, "Still having headaches?" "Yes," I said, "it's still really bad." She gave me an appointment. After some time, I was back in the same room, room number 5. My hands were shaking, but this time not from fear, but from excitement. When the door opened, I saw him again, Dr. Carter. He smiled. "Maya," he said warmly, "you're back. How are you feeling?" "Not good," I said, pretending to look sad. "The pain is still there." He looked concerned and checked me again. After a few minutes, he said, "Everything looks fine. Are you sure it still hurts?" I looked down and stayed quiet. Then I took a deep breath. "Dr. Carter," I said softly, "I have to tell you something." He looked at me curiously. "What is it?" "My headache? It's gone. It got better days ago." He looked surprised. "Then why did you come back?" I looked into his eyes and whispered, "Because I wanted to see you again." For a moment, everything was silent. My heart was beating so fast, I thought he could hear it. I felt my face turn red. I was scared he would be angry. But then he smiled. A small, warm smile. "Maya," he said gently, "I'm glad you came back." My heart jumped. I couldn't believe it. He wasn't angry at all. He looked kind. He looked happy. I smiled shyly and said, "Would you like to have coffee with me someday?" He looked surprised, then laughed softly. "I would love to." That evening, we met at a small cafe near the hospital. We talked for hours. He told me about his life, his family, his dreams. I told him about my bakery, my childhood, and my silly love for chocolate cake. He was not only handsome, he was gentle, funny, and kind. When he walked me home, the city lights were glowing. The air was cool. Before saying goodbye, he looked at me and said, "I'm glad you lied about your headache." I laughed and said, "Me too." After that day, we met again and again. We went for walks in the park. We watched movies together. We cooked dinner and talked late into the night. He made me feel alive in a way I had never felt before. 3 months later, he told me he loved me. We were sitting by the ocean, watching the sunset. The sky was pink and golden. He held my hand and said, "Maya, I love you. I think I loved you from the first day I saw you." Tears filled my eyes. I smiled and whispered, "I love you too." 6 months later, he asked me to marry him. He proposed in the same hospital room where we first met, room number 5. He knelt down, held my hand, and said, "Maya, will you marry me?" I laughed, cried, and said yes. Now we are married. We live in a small house with the garden full of flowers. He still works at the hospital, and I opened my own bakery. I named it Sweet Lie because one little lie brought me the sweetest truth of my life. Every morning I wake up beside him and smile. Sometimes I still remember that day, the day I told a small lie because of a small headache. That lie changed my whole life. Sometimes love begins with something small, even a mistake. But if it's true, it becomes the most beautiful story of all. This is my story.